How are you? My name is Corbin Reed and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today is a super fun day because I'm going to be sharing with you my living room part 2 style with me. I'm going to be styling up these gorgeous shelves that I built last year and my built-ins in general. I did my stairwell and my fireplace in my living room in part 1, so if you missed that, I'll be sure to link that in the cards above. But I'll just be finishing up all of the couch and throws and my built-ins and any other consoles that I have in my living room. I'll be styling those up. So be sure to watch till the end so you get all of the Christmas decor inspiration. And also, I will be sure to list everything I use down below in the description box, so do not forget to check down there to find the items I used for today's video. And without further ado, let's get into it. So starting out on my bookcases, I like to put a wreath just centering on all of these beautiful vintage vessels that I have on the shelf. Those really don't get rotated out much unless I'm changing out a vase somewhere in my home, but I always have 3 vases at varying heights on these shelves. And I like to use these Norfolk pine wreaths that I got off of Etsy last year. I even kept the lights wrapped around them. They're just like some Target twinkly lights. They are 24 inches, and I like to center them on the vintage vessels with some ribbon. So this year I'm using a thick velvet ribbon. A lot of it I picked up from Hobby Lobby. Some of it I got off of Amazon. So what I do is I sort of measure how far down I want it to drop, and then I fold it in half one other time. So basically three the same length, 3 pieces the same length, and cut it at that length. That way I know also that the wreaths will be at the same height on the bookcase as long as the ribbons are the same length. So once I get one the length I want it, I just copy it for the other side. See here, I'm just using the ribbon to hold the wreath in place. I start by stringing it through the middle and then just tying it once through the center. I use that top shelf as like a marker, an indicator, and the second shelf down as an indicator, just like a visual indicator, and then I'm stringing these rustic bells along as well. And those will just end up sitting right in the middle of the wreath. So I basically, the best way to do this is to tie it once to get it to the length you want it, and then string the bells on and then tie the bow. It's a little bit hard to see from the way that I was filming, so apologies for that. Moving on to the shelves, I really decorated around my staple decor. So I have a few vessels, a few marble vintage vessels and bowls. This dough bowl is one of them. I just took out what was in there, which was some moss balls, and I replaced it with acorns and potpourri that I had from last year. So I'm just reusing things I already had, but you can find these in basically any store. Michael's, Hobby Lobby, pine cones. You can even collect them outside. Just make sure you debug them before you bring them in, because yeah, I'm just adding this potpourri that I had last year to the dough bowl. My whole goal with this shelf styling is really to create a couple vignettes that are holiday-ish, but really just add texture with seasonal foliage. So foliage doesn't just mean greenery, it can also mean pine cones, things that would grow in nature that are in season this time of year. And I just think it adds a really nice natural touch. Into this marble bowl that I got from Olive Atelier, it's a marble vintage bowl, I'm adding some bottle brush trees and these two little tiny gingerbread men that I got from Hobby Lobby just to create this cute little vignette. So that's my little whimsical touch there. And that is it for the shelf on the right. I also have these shelves that I built, these floating shelves with the brass railing, tipping rail. I'm just adding these trees. One is from last year's Studio McGee line at Target, and the other is another threshold Target tree that I got. It does light up, but you know, those batteries die so quickly. But I just like the mixture of the wood texture and the gold metal looking texture. It's actually a gold sprayed glass, but it's nice to not just use matching things, but to sort of mix materials so you get a little bit more depth and interest in your shelf styling. And then on this floating shelf, I'm adding this oil painting that I got from a flea market here in Los Angeles called the Rose Bowl Flea Market. I thought those deep reds and greens were consistent with what I was going for my holiday decor. And then these candle holders are a crystal glass candle holder that I picked up from Home Goods. I really like the modernity of them. It's nice to have, I have a lot of vintage decor. It's nice to mix vintage and modern decor sometimes. And then this is a tree that I picked up from Pottery Barn last year. And I just tied a little velvet bow around the neck to make it look like he is wearing a scarf, which I think is just so cute. And then these are just some twisted red taper candle holders that I believe I picked up from Hobby Lobby as well. And then I do have the matching reindeer to the Pottery Barn reindeer. It's just a smaller one, and I like to use that one on the shelves since my shelf height is not that big. And then those are some hearth and hand trees that are not being sold this year. Oh no, they are being sold. I will link those down below. Anything I am using to decorate within this video, I will link down below. And then to this vintage dough, I think it's called dough bowl. I actually got this off of Etsy from a seller in the Ukraine, I believe. I'm just adding some bells and some potpourri, and to the bottom of it, I added a little tea-striped towel, tea-striped ticking stripe tea towel for some added buoyancy and texture. Then to this marble bowl from TJ Maxx, I'm using the bottom of the wreath from my mantle as swag, and then adding some jingle bells and faux cranberries. And to the right is this vintage bowl that I got from Olive Atelier, I believe, as well. And that is just a little bit of a red berry stem from Michael's that I picked off of my picks from my mantle fireplace decorations. And I'm just adding some faux cranberries. These are actually from Crate and Barrel. I got them 2 years ago, and I reuse them every year, whether it's for bowl filler or putting them inside of a hurricane with a candle. It's a really beautiful thing. There are just so many different ways that you can use them, and they have a beautiful deep red color. So this is how the shelf turned out. Again, it's very subtle, but I keep these bowls on my shelves so I can seasonally fill them with decor that makes sense for the season, and that way I'm not having to constantly change out my shelf styling. I don't really love to do that because the pieces I have are pieces I love, and I don't really get sick of looking at them. They're pieces that took me years to find and to curate, so I really don't do a ton of switching out with those bowls. Those are all curated finds that are very unique, and I love looking at them. So this is a napkin holder that I'm obsessed with that I got from the Lifestyle Co. And I'm just adding in some disposable napkins that I got from Home Goods with these cute little deer on them. And then that candle is from Target, the Hearth and Hand line. And the bottom
marble holder, candle holder is from the Studio McGee line. And I actually also got the top cloche for it from Target for like $5. I will link what I can down below for that styling there, because a lot of that stuff is still available and very affordable. To the top of my book shelves, my bookcases, my built-ins, I have these vintage paper mache bowls that I picked up from a local seller, but they do sell them on Olive Atelier. I will leave a link to those down below. I have some moss balls that stay up there year round, so I'm just adding some red ornaments for a pop of color, and I honestly added like 6 to each bowl, but it makes such a difference in the grand scheme of things. As you can see from afar, it just helps it feel like it's tied in with the decor, and everything is just unified. I haven't talked much about this tapestry on the wall, but this is an antique tapestry that I did pick up a couple of months ago, and it's really funny because it ended up being a beautiful black backdrop for all of my ceramic houses that I have on top of my mantle. It just looks like I built a little winter scene, and it was completely unintentional. It's like a forest looking tapestry, verdure, I guess is what they call it in France. So yeah, happy accident. And then I included my stairwell styling in my first Decorate With Me video, but I'm just showing you I added some red cranberry stems to my stairwell garland. I just felt like I have all these deep pops of red, and it looked a little bit too simple for me. I just wanted to add a little bit of texture, and I had some leftover cranberry picks, and I thought this would be the perfect place to put them, so I'm just interspersing them where the garlands meet, and then also like in the middle of the swoops of the garland, and I just think it makes the whole stairwell garland look super finished and even better than it looked before when I originally styled it. And then next to my stairwell, I have this travertine console. This dough bowl is from, you know what? It's from a local vintage seller. I can link similar things down below, but it is massive. It's like a vintage found dough bowl, and I'm just using all of my leftover greenery in this bowl. I think, you tell me down below in the comments. I think I may have gotten a little bit carried away with all the materials I use. I think this is actually a good example of less is more. But I had this leftover wreaths. I don't really love them because the berries shed. I got them 2 years ago from Target, and they're very plasticky feeling, and I just like, they look a little shiny, and I just have picked up so many beautiful Real Touch wreaths and stems and garlands that the more plasticky feeling ones just aren't that appealing to me. So I thought it would be good to use them as like bedding in this massive dough bowl to hold just sort of the leftover decor that I had. So I'm just adding in basically a mixture of greenery, and you can do this too. You don't have to use as many materials as me. This is like a mixture of dried oranges, pine cones, and acorns and cinnamon sticks. They're all in the same color family, so I thought it worked. But it is kind of a lot, and if you're not going for this sort of traditional Christmas colorful situation, it might be too much for you. It might be better to just do, just do pine cones or just do oranges or whatever. But I thought it was a cool way to use up what I had left over. And then for the stockings, I found these really beautiful genuine brass stocking holders at the Roseville Flea Market last year, and I'm just adding them to this butcher block. And we have some custom made stockings that my husband got made for us and our whole family actually a few years back, and they're definitely keepsakes, and they have our names on them. We even got one for our dog Pepper. Hers is the white one. The rest of the stockings will go up later when I have the tree. I do want to say this is my living room decorate with me, but we get a real tree. I know everyone on YouTube and Instagram buys faux trees, it seems like, but we are real tree people in this house, and we like to wait until December to get the tree just so it doesn't dry out. And we are hosting this year, so I want to make sure the tree is like in a good state. And then over here on this vintage Apothecary, it is a mess on top, so please excuse that. I need to sand it and restain it. When I originally sanded this down, because it came with a very green stain on it and I had to strip it back, I didn't put like a finishing wax on top, so it looks a little nuts, but I'm adding some just green stems over the sides. Again, this is my leftover greenery. It's a mixture of like cedar and pine cones and a little Norfolk pine, and then I'm just putting some more pine cones in the center. This is just a great sort of mathematical equation for a bowl, right? Like greenery on the base and then bowl filler on top or in the middle. And this one has a really nice look to it because it's like an oblong shape, and yeah, simple but impactful. And then over on my sofa, which I actually sewed this sofa cover a few months back, it's a slip cover and I'm very proud of it, and it's cotton olive velvet, and I love it. I'm adding these pillows that I got off Etsy, which I will leave linked down below. I love them. They have this red piping on them, and that is a hand embroidered Christmas tree with like snowflakes and red ornaments. And then I also DIY'd this wool blanket. It used to be orange. It was from IKEA, and I wanted like a burgundy color, so I just mixed like a brown and a red, and I have a video for that as well in case you're interested in doing that to your throws. But I'll leave that link down below. But yeah, this is just how I styled our sofa. It is not large, so I don't like to use a ton of pillows. And then over here on the sheepskin chair from Made in Home, which I'll also leave linked down below. I love it. I have one more DIY wool blanket that was also orange that I dyed red. And I love how these turned out. I will use these year after year. You know, they're beautiful material, and sometimes it's hard to find the exact color way that you want, so Rit dye is a really good option. I just dyed them in the sink. And then on my coffee table, this is basically the base. I really don't change this much. I like to keep it simple. I style it in 3 or 4 sections. This is a copper bowl that I thrifted in Boston. That magnifying glass is brass. I got it off Amazon. It was very affordable, and it's real brass. I'll leave that link down below. And then I just filled the copper bowl with some candied cranberries that I got from Michael's last year, and that's it. It's very simple. Again, a lot of the items I have are collected, and have taken me years to curate and to find, and I adore looking at them. So I don't really feel the need to change out my decor often because my items are so well loved and so curated. And I think that's a really good formula for your home, is to find items you love so you don't constantly feel like you have to switch them out. This is an item I also sort of like agonized over getting perfectly, and I think I did. I wanted one of these wicker sleds. I didn't want the one from Hobby Lobby. I didn't want anything that anybody else would have, so I went on Etsy and found this from a vintage seller in Kansas. It was very affordable, and it's the perfect size for my fireplace. And for now, I am just putting greenery and some jingle bells. I think later on in the season, I may change that out for some birchwood logs because I think that would look really cute next to the fire. But for now, this is what I had on hand, and I wanted to style it, so I think it looks adorable. And this would also look great on the shelf. This is just where I chose to put it this year.
Thank you all so much for being here today. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a comment down below in the description box. It just helps YouTube know that you're enjoying my content. It helps me help you continue to deliver free inspiration and DIYs and how-tos and all this stuff. So it really helps me out. If you could please leave a comment down below in the description box, and of course subscribe to this channel if you're not already subscribed. Hit that subscribe bell. Follow me over on Instagram, and I have more coming your way for Christmas inspiration, and then we're also going to start getting into trends and some more DIY stuff. So be sure to stay tuned, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.